has space. So what we thought was we will do this as a series of webinars for 3 or 4 weeks. Next week we are planning to talk on GMs, general movements. Okay. And anyway, because general movements, we are planning to start a course. We are planning to start an intervention research in Colombo and another district. And we will be training all the participants, and we will get the Zoom training organized for all doctors who will be involved. So we also can offer you all, and that training will be done by the original team who is doing that. So it will be really good, right? Yeah. So now we have a air conditioner which is making a bit of noise. We want to. So next week we'll do the GMs, and then the following week we'll do physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy. If we can't finish within a week, maybe we'll push it to another week. That's what we thought, right? So yeah, we'll aim for 3 sessions, but if it needs required, we can do 4 sessions. Okay? Okay. Right. So basically, why I agreed to do this is because I think it's very important that we all learn what needs to be done, and it is translated to parents at the neonatal unit itself, right? So, for example, all of you know the story of Little Red Riding Hood. Does everybody know the story of Little Red Riding Hood? Yes, right. You remember that she went to her grandma's place and she was eaten up by the wolf, right? So she went alone. But at the beginning of the story, when the mother tells her that she needs to go see the grandma, and if Little Red Riding Hood's mother decided to go with her, instead of sending her alone, we could have changed the entire story of Little Red Riding Hood. Right? So it's similar to that. If we give early intervention, we can change the entire life of the children. So it's like this. Now, this little baby whom we all look after and do all the work, we spend so many hours on this baby. But if that baby ends up like this, I hope you all can see my slides. If this baby whom you look after and do everything, spend so many nights looking after, giving food, adjusting the oxygen, adjusting the fluids, giving antibiotics, end up like this, it's totally useless, right? There is no point for the child, no point for the baby. If we do, however good we are as neonatal staff, whatever we do, if we don't discharge them with the proper messages, this is going to be the ultimate result. This is not your fault. This is the fault of the system, right? This result comes as a part of the system. You have done your best, right? However, they could also be happy children like this, right? I had videos, but the videos are not working on this slide. But they could be happy children like this. Okay, but they also have little problems, but they are very happy. You can see the difference. Do you agree with me or not? Voice, is my voice not clear? Can you hear me better now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, sorry about it. It's the sound of the AC. Hot now? Yeah. Okay, do you now, are you happy with these two kids in comparison to this kid? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, now we are not magicians, we are not gods. We do our best, right? We look after this kid. But it is the right of this parent and this child that they don't end up like this and they end up like this. If you look at these families, yes, both these kids can't walk alone, but they are very, very happy families. And actually, both these kids know their letters, know their numbers, whereas this girl is doing really well. She talks normally and she does everything normally, but whereas this fellow needs a lot of assistance. This is a GMFCS 4. And this is also GMF says 4, but they have different difficulties, right? So they both are not walking long distance. This is just happened. This is the first time this child has ever started climbing down the stairs, right? So all what I'm going to talk is based on some of these articles. And I strongly believe, and my team strongly believes, that the neonatalist has the greatest responsibility and the neonatal team to prepare this family for whatever is coming for the future as well, right? So these are some of the things that we can use later on, like because they are therapists. But this nurturing care framework is also very important as some reading material to discuss how we can prepare the families, right? So I advise you all to develop your own nurturing care handbooks and all that in your workplace so that you can tell families how to look after the babies. Simple instructions like don't take your baby in a motorcycle without a helmet, right? So don't take your, because in Jaffna, there are a lot of people traveling in bicycles and motorcycles, right? Taking a little infant whom you look after so well in a bicycle or a motorcycle will make you fall, and just fall, and then that is the end of the child's life. Okay, so nurturing care is about looking after your child's safety, feeding them, giving them immunization and all that. So you do some of these things, but it's important that you read and make your own reading material. We are going to mobilize the place. 1 second, please tolerate us. Can you all hear me still? Can you all hear me? Satika, you can hear me? Can you hear? Hello? Can you hear me? Satika?
Yes, ma'am.
Ahanawada?
Oh, madam.
Disturbances are there disturbances? Is it clear?
Now better, madam.
Okay, thanks. Right. So today we are mainly discussing about the neurosciences, right? So basically, if you take the brain grows by two ways. One is by the growth of the structure, and other one is by the function. So with the functional process is basically formation of circuits, right? And all of you know that the primary factor that decides how the brain is going is genes. But please remember the genes contribute apparently less and less now. So it's less than 50% they say, but they haven't given a proper number. But the majority is based on the experiences that shape up the process, right? I'm going to show you all a video at the end because otherwise sometimes when I show videos on Zoom, everything gets blocked. Right, so the brain weight, as you can see, grows the most during the first 3 years and then it flattens. Yeah, the first 2 years is good, the third year is also helpful. Even the macroscopic, if you look at the complexity of the rural pattern and all those, they also change with age, and after 40 weeks also it changes, right? So macroscopic changes also take place, which you can see in MRIs very clearly, right? And then if you look at the microscopy also, the brain connectivity increases by so many folds, right? There's a million folds, right? So මම ඉංග්‍රීසියෙන් විතරක් කතා කරාම ඇති නේද සිංහලෙන් කියන්න ඕනේද?
No, madam. No.
If there are nurses and all that, if you want to, we can, when we are doing the neonatal unit activities and all that, we can get my Tamil speaking speech and language therapist to translate certain things. So primarily, we are depending on synaptogenesis and myelination after birth, and of course, the neural migration takes place anyway till term, right? Even if they are born preterm. Now, I'm going to share an article with you all to tell you all that like there are so many risks of being born preterm, and the risk to the neural tissue being preterm is inevitable. So whatever we do, there could be little changes that can result in major consequences in later life. Now the last process which is here, which is known as apoptosis, is the natural death of neural tissue cells that are not utilized by the body. So even if they have an intraventricular hemorrhage at some point, if we can train the brain and give the experiences to the brain to grow, the synapses can form, neural migration can help other cells to take over the activities, and then there won't be apoptosis of those other cells which are not used. The most important thing is to use the unused cells to repair the activities of the brain. So early intervention will invest on these processes. So please remember that we are basically dealing with brains and not with anything else, right? So this is the other important slide that I always show. This also shows that the learning, this is the learning dependent synapse formation, right? That is, learning dependent synapse formation is when you get the exposure, experience dependent. When you get the exposure, you get the highest amount of synapses formed, right? If you look at it, the first one to take place is seeing and hearing. Next is understanding and production of speech. And then while these are happening, you can see in the background, gradually the understanding, the cognitive functions take place, right? So the maximum of all these have happened before the age of 3 years. Now, Satika, being a pediatrician, you know, majority of kids that we see come to us during this phase. So where is the opportunity to develop. So that is why we think majority of children end up having poor development. No, we don't, because if we start at this age, at the birth, or even a few months before, where you can actually work on the preterm brain, you can have a better outcome just like this, right? So experience dependent learning happens by a process called serve and return, right? So serve and return means now it's like playing badminton or table tennis, where you serve and somebody returns. You serve and somebody returns, right? So it's a two-way process, right? So I'm going to show you all a video to show what is serve and return, serve and return. So if your babas from the neonatal unit, when the mothers come to feed the babies, you must tell them, talk to your babies. Talk to them. More you talk to them, more you serve them, more they will return. Because the return depends on the serve. And what happens between the serve and the return is the synapse point, right? And also giving challenges. This is for the physiotherapist, occupational therapist, and the speech therapist. And all of you who are going to talk to the mothers. We need to challenge the babies. We should never take their hand and put on an object. You have to show the object. That means their vision has to be in place, and then you have to go and put it near their hand, so their hand will come and touch the object. You never take a child's hand and put it somewhere, because then your brain doesn't learn. Only the mother's brain will learn, not the baby's brain, right? So challenges will help develop synapses. Toxic stress is the bad things. So the bad things that can happen in your neonatal units are what? Can somebody talk, because it's boring only when I'm talking? Nurses, what are the bad things that can happen in your unit?
Noise,
Yes, what else?
light, excessive light,
Light, what else?
too much of pain. We are pricking so many times, and
Okay.
then various chemicals. We use hand sterilizers and all.
Yeah. So excessive smells, all those can affect. And also there are a lot of good things also that can happen in the neonatal unit, like where you actually touch the baby, sing nice with lullabies, things like that, right? So those will help the baby. So toxic stress is something, and also when what happens here is there will be an adrenaline rush that will continue to secrete even after we take away the stressor, right? So the adrenaline will affect the child's brain, primarily the areas of, like they say, the limbic system and the amygdala gets affected most, where the learning, memory, behavior control. So have you all, it's sad because you all don't see the kids that you look after. I see them, right? So I see these babies who come from the neonatal units who are always very irritable. They cry and cry and cry, and they're so stressed. They don't know how to regulate their emotions, right? They scream at the top of their voices, and when they grow up, they throw things, right? So that bad experience as a neonate have caused toxic stress to them, which has inhibited the normal development of the brain areas that results in better emotional control and behavior, right? That will have an effect on the child's entire life subsequently. So if we give these experiences to babies in the neonatal units, they will all improve with time, right? So this is serve and return. So the mother or the nurse or whoever serves, and then the babies will return, serve, return, serve, return. So as we go by, the baby's brain will develop much better, right? And then they will have a very nice, well set idea about what they are doing, right? So this is very important, serve and return, serve and return, right? So this is how we do in our early intervention clinic, right? We train mothers to talk to babies, talking, talking, looking at the eyes, talking to the babies. So important. When your parents, I go to the neonatal unit and I scream at the mothers. They don't, they are just looking at the sky and putting the babies in their breast. Don't ever do that. If you see them doing that, tell them to talk to their babies. Even if they can't walk, they can't talk, they can't talk. If they look, they learn a lot, right? So challenges will also be very important, and toxic stress will not help them reach where you want them to reach, right? So some of the basic things in early intervention. Uh, what is early intervention, right? So early intervention is a multidisciplinary coordinated activity that should happen in natural environment, right? So we can work together and tell them what needs to happen, but the happening should be not at the hospital clinic. They have to do it in their home every day, right? So if we talk to mothers about positioning, doing activities, talking to the babies, we give them like, so what is the natural environment advice we give? We tell them every time you change a nappy, talk to your baby. Every time you change a nappy, put your baby on the tummy. Every time you change a nappy, give toys to your baby, sing a song. So after the nappy change, the mother spends 15 minutes doing the activities with the baby. So it doesn't become a stress to the mother. If they have to, um, if you tell them do it 50 times a day, then it's very stressful. I have to cook for my husband, I have to take my other children to school, I have to look at their homework, and how can I do 50 times? It's not possible, right? And also remember, these are not parents who have gone through normal pregnancy. These are parents possibly where the baby is precious. Mother is having this baby after 10 years of marriage, or maybe they have had PIH, or maybe they have had heart disease. So the pregnancy has been awfully stressful. Then they have a neonatal period where everything is absolutely stressful because during the neonatal period they are having the baby room, and then they were told the baby is going to die almost. No, next day they say no, the baby survived, right? So they have gone through a lot. And when you tell them, when you take the child home, you want to do these things 50 times a day, it's not possible for them to do. But if you tell them every time you do the nappy change, why don't you do these activities at home? That will be really good. Other thing is when you are in the kitchen, take your baby to the kitchen. We are going to show you how we talk to the mothers about placing babies in their washing basin, right? So take the washing basin, put the baby in the washing basin, keep the baby on the floor, and you do your work. And while you are doing it, talk to the baby, sing a song to the baby, things like that. Okay? So that is the natural environment. That is the magic about natural environment. And also, we have to include all our therapists. For me, I'm sorry, the occupational therapist is not there, but yes, they are very important. We have to involve our entire team because there is no point of working by yourself because it only makes your work more and more and more, right? But when we do the work, we have to base the needs of the family as priority, not our needs, right? So I would love this child to walk by 1 year, but if the parents are not very interested in doing so, we have to take it step by step. We can't push them because if we push them, the mother might go and commit suicide, right? So we don't want things like that to happen. So we have to take it gently. And remember, when we do early intervention, it can have a huge impact on the child's ability to learn new skills and overcome challenges and increase the success in school and in employment. Okay, so what you learn today, what I am successful in delivering what I am intending to do, there will be a good future for all the babies who are discharged from your units, right? So it's for all infants born from 0 to 3 years, and these are the key principles, right? Key principles are it has to be always involved in the family, right? We don't do anything, it's the family who does everything. We just tell them and show them and get them to practice what they should be doing. And it should be at the home environment, but the environment could be enriched, right? And we have to teach them how to communicate through interaction, self-initiated active motor learning. Now, if there are physiotherapists, hands up, please. I like to see you all. Okay, which faculty are you all from? Okay, I have Peradene graduates working with me. They are wonderful people. I hope you are as wonderful as they are. So, please, please, don't ever touch a baby and tell, let's bend this baby 10 times a day. No, please don't do that. It all has to be self-initiated active motor learning. This is not what I say. This is what the cerebral palsy guidelines, World Cerebral Palsy guidelines say, right? So it's only self-initiated active motor learning that will help the children to learn and do things. Then sensory development through play and experiences. That is what occupational therapists. And then we will discuss the condition-specific interventions when we do the general movement, right? So that's why I said we might have to do 4 sessions because we thought we will do a little bit more on cerebral palsy and autism a little bit more so that you all will be more competent in doing that. And then Satika will be the happiest person because then all the neonates that she discharges are really doing well. Okay? Right. So family, I'm just going to introduce you these principles today, and that is going to be the end of this lecture. And we will give you reading material. You can read and come back next time. Next time we are going to do the GMs. And we thought for all of you, Satika, if you can have a list of participants who are there, we can give them a certificate for participating in this webinar series, and that will be good for them. What do you think, Satika? Is that a good idea?
Yes, madam.
Yeah. So we thought of doing it as modules so that it helps them to develop their professional skills as well. So what is family center? So as you all know, these families are very worried, right? All these families who have these preterm babies, hypoxic babies, right? Parents are very worried, right? So we have to give them a lot of support, right? You have to be very nice to them. I hope you all are very nice nursing staff, right? Always make them part of your team. Make them inclusive, right? And always make them understand they are very helpful and make them become very efficient and give them the power to take control of their child, right? Empower them, right? It's so important to develop positive parent-infant relationship. This is not only your preterms and hypoxic kids. I would like to bring in the syndromic kids and the Down syndrome kids especially because this is where it begins. The journey begins in the neonatal unit. The journey where the child and the mother bonds and the father and the mother bonds. Both parents should be there. Right? Remember, they are very worried, they are very anxious, they are very sad if they are told they have a child with a disability. But if you tell them, we are there to support you, We will be there throughout your journey. They will be happy, right? You have to give that confidence to these families to look after their child. You should never tell them your child is going to be disabled, your child is never going to school, your child has a massive interventricular hemorrhage, he will never walk. We see kids coming into our clinic. Sometimes we look at their MRIs and we tell this does not belong to this child, right? Because the early neonatal brain changes can change with time if we give proper early intervention. They will be just telltale signs of what has happened, right? So we have children who are talking, walking, but of course with certain amount of disabilities, but who have had massive cerebral edema, intracerebral hemorrhages. So, but it's all what the parents do, and it's us as a team who will make these children learn and do things as they go by. Okay, so the family, we have to teach them to do responsive caregiving. So responsive caregiving is being responsive to the child's needs. That means if the child is crying, you have to go and not just carry the child, you have to go and see, show the child that you're there. Why are you crying, darling? What can I do for you? Check the nappy. If the nappy is wet, to change it. If the baby is hungry, to feed the baby. Right? If the baby is running a fever, take the baby to a doctor. Right? So that is responsive caregiving, giving response to the child's signals that the child shows that the child is showing some features of anxiety. Then comes the emotional regulation. So the child is crying. How can we help them to reduce that? We can cry for no reason because their brain is damaged. So there can be a lot of abnormal impulses going up and down, and they don't know how to control it. And the only way that they react is by crying or being cranky, right? So when they are big, we tell them to ignore the parents. But when they are babies, we can't just ignore. We have to tell, we have bring in different methods, right? Sometimes we might have to rock the baby, sometimes we might have to teach him how to put his own finger in his mouth and soothe himself. We can teach him to listen to the sounds, the lullabies, soothing words. So there may be different methods, but it's important to talk to mothers on discharge how to do these things, right? Then getting the child to control the attention, right? You show a toy, the child has to look at the toy. That comes little by little, giving the attention to things, right? So only if the mother talks and does these things, the child will develop the attention control. And ultimately, this will lead when they are bigger to successful play, communication, and learning. So it's a hierarchical development, right? Starting with the mother responding to the child's cry, soothing the child, getting the child's attention, and ultimately turning the child's attention to something meaningful like a singing song activity or playing or something like that. So it's child development is so beautiful and it just flows if we put them in correct path, right? So yeah, okay. So you can see how we can make them calm down, right? All these videos are available in this website, cdc.government, right? So now let's think about what is enrichment. So these things, more examples will be shown by our team when they do the activities, right? So enriched environments means how you can enrich their own environment by not having a lot of things, but having like simple things like a wash basket, right? Where the kids can be kept and get them to do things by getting them to look at storybooks. So now the difference in IIT team versus all the other teams in Sri Lanka is IIT team is working as a group of people together to develop a single goal in a child. This is mainly for kids, OGs and PTs, right? So if you want a child to look at a book, how old do you think this baby is? This baby may be only just 2 months old, right? Right? So what happens is the mom and the baby are in a position which is given by the physiotherapist, and child is looking at something and holding it, and that is fine motor, and then listening to the story. That is speech and language therapy. So the mother is given the skill by all these therapists to do activities in a single situation. That is so beautiful because the mothers don't need to do it 3 times or the 3 therapists, 3 different things, right? So this, by enriching the environment, by making the environment child friendly, giving them opportunities and experiences to learn, you can make them the families happy as well as the babies happy, right? So environments that are enriched facilitate enhanced cognitive, motor, and sensory stimulation, right? Compared to standard housing conditions. And during these interventions, it will enrich at least one of many of the domains that we are required to uh, promote learning, right? Now, please don't think this is not for neonatal babies. This is for neonatal babies. In your neonatal environment also, I would kindly ask you to ask every mother to bring in a small bag with a storybook, with a little balls, different color balls, right? I'm going to show you all these items at the end. And then maybe some sound making rattles, right? So these things, if you keep in the, even in the incubator, the mother can use these things when they come near the baby, right? And you can encourage certain postures like prone position. Therapists, you have to ask mothers to put babies in tummy position, right? Tummy time is so important for the development of muscles in the entire body and also movement. If anybody tells you that you should not do tummy time for babies, that is wrong. All children, irrespective of their condition, should have tummy time. Right? We'll discuss more about these things when we do the physio thing. I'll actually bring the stuff and show you all now itself so that you will remember. I'm bringing here. So let me show you all a few stuff, few things that we can use. I can't see myself on this. I'm going to show you all. So these are some of the books that we use, which has black and white pictures. So you don't need books. You can use things like, you can ask parents to draw these, like in black and white, in thick drawings. And so little babies, the very preterm babies, will stand these kind of pictures, right? So these are pictures you can easily ask parents to make. If you go to the internet and ask for high contrast visual stimulation pictures for visual development in infants, all these pictures will be there, similar ones, right? So yes, and then also pictures like this, very clear pictures, right? Storybooks or little books with clear pictures like this for the babies. Right? So while the mother comes there and the mother keeps the baby in her lap, and they can just show the pictures there. So the baby could be kept like this. Yeah, baby could be kept like this, little babies, and the mother can just show the pictures. Okay, they can do that. Please tell them that they can do that. Yeah. So then a rattle, right? And then maybe some colorful balls or things like this, which are red, orange. Those are the colors that babies like to look at. Red, orange. Sometimes some babies like colors like blue and purple. These are just objects, right? And what you can do is, if the babies are if you think that babies are not looking, nowadays we use the phone for all purposes. You can use the torch of the phone and light up the toy and take it in front of the baby's eyes, right? So the babies learn to focus, right? So it doesn't light up, but then you can light it up from outside, right? Externally you can light it up so that it shines, right? So these are methods that we can. These are simple things. It's better to ask them to bring toys like this so that you can easily light them up. So those are not expensive. Every mother should have a little bag brought into the PDU and kept near the baby. You can clean it and keep it, so there won't be any risk. Okay. So enriched environment is absolutely important, but enriched environment is also absolutely cheap. It's not an expensive option, and you should easily be able to do it. Okay. Then the next is so, yeah, this is one of my previous senior registrars teaching a mother and a father together with the physiotherapist. Physiotherapist is behind. This is the girl who was standing in the picture. So you can see how we have put her on prone, the posturing. We are keeping the little baby in the dolly baby to stimulate her, to show her that that baby is also staying in that position, and then mother is going to blow bubbles. This is when she was slightly older, but we did this when she was quite young also, right? We did same thing with younger kids also. I'm sorry, I don't have videos. Then communication, if you take communication, there's a massive development in the communication that is seen outwardly from 6 months to 2 years, but actually the initial synapse formation takes place from 0 to 6 months, right? You saw that. So they will develop gestures, vocalizations, sounds, and all those things, and they need to have a very responsive communication environment. I'm going to show you this. See? Can you all see the screen? One second, I'm going to show this to you because it's very important and there are little babies also because sometimes when I show videos of bigger babies, you all must be thinking, ah, madam is doing that for bigger kids, we don't need to do this for little babies. Right? Our center has blocked using YouTube. So this is on YouTube, that is why it's not working. Okay, now it works. Can you all see this video? Satika පේනවද?
Yes, madam. Yes.
I'm stopping there. Just wanted to show that little baby. If you look at this, you can see my screen, right? If you look at this will have a lot of information. So this website is www.0to3.org. This is very scientific website, so I recommend that all of you all see this, right? So it's possible, if possible, please train your parents to talk to the kids. Sri Lankans have a problem, they don't talk to their children. I don't know why that is, right? One second, I'm just going to change the connection because my phone battery is. Can you all hear me?
Yes, madam.
Just a few more slides, not a lot. Then I'll just show you the video and then we are done. Yeah. So remember there are six main things that we need to know. Children learn what they hear most. Children learn words for things and events that interest them. So you have to show things and talk to the babies. Like even little babies, you have to show the picture book and say, this is a ball. You play with the ball, right? Interactive responses build language learning and meaningful places. So these 4, 5, 6 are actually after some time, not in the very early days. The first 1 to 3 has to happen in the very early phases, right? Okay. Then still phase, I'm not going to talk about still phase now. So these are the self-initiated movements that I'm talking about. Can you see how this baby likes to touch and he's looking? So this is what we do in our early intervention clinics. This is a tiny baby who had motor problems. You can see when she sees how her limbs start moving. Right? So if you give the child a touch, the child will move more and more and more. And then there will be there. Now she's finally touching and she's very happy about that touch, right? She touches one, she touches two, right? That's a long video, which is where people are talking by themselves also. Okay, so doing activities like that, and then promote early weight bearing by putting them in the sitting position, encouraging truncal movements, motor and improve sensory and communication, and then early mobility by putting the baby in the prone position, right, and encouraging bilateral activity, right. So this is prone position. We do put a roll at times, but you can, sorry, you can see how beautifully, can you please focus on this area, right? Unless you put a baby in prone, the baby will never walk. Because for walking, they need to move their hips. This hip movement comes only when they are prone. When they are prone, they learn to bear weight on their knees, and it's so important, and on their arms so that they learn to turn, right? The prone position is such an encouraging movement for to see that lifting their head, the entire body is encouraged to move so much rather than when they are in the on their back, right? So I know there are a lot of therapists in Sri Lanka who don't believe in prone position, and I'm very sad about it because the research does not support. And if possible, change the attitude of the northern province, um, northern province therapists, and this is later on we are encouraging it. So she is walking by herself, and we are just supporting her, right? So these are all self-initiated activities at different ages. So unless, so all people about self-initiated activities, this one also, we only facilitate. We don't see any of us touching these babies, right? We don't want to touch babies in an unwanted manner, right? And just a few words about neurodevelopmental disorder. It is like if any of these areas get affected and ultimately affects the child's life, that is a neurodevelopmental disorder. And these are some of those disorders. And please remember the majority are due to antenatal or perinatal causes. And this is what you are managing, right? These kids are under your care. And please remember these are the causes for the neurodevelopmental disorders. So you manage them, but the damage is already done. Always there's a little bit of damage. And you can change the entire lives by changing the practices. So the brain actually heals when damaged, they rewire, reconnect, reorganize, and with specific interventions and also with nurturing care, you can make huge changes, right? They can be made to grow and survive only if they are used frequently and meaningfully. So this is all about today's lecture. Any questions so far? I have 3 videos to share. Hi, Geeta.
Hi dear, how are you?
I recorded this so I can share it with you.
Please do. Sorry, I got caught up with the war round, that's why I couldn't come.
No problem. It's my fault. I sent the link only at 10:59. I'm so busy today. I just arrived at the but anyway, I recorded it and we are going to do it in 4 sessions. I'm just going to show you all the videos. Uh, Give me a second. Chintaka, sorry, I sent the link late, but we will upload this onto maybe to YouTube in a private link and send you all the links, and then you all can get the nurses to watch. And from next time, I will do a proper one. Yeah, I'll make sure that we give you the links early. Okay, just watch these videos. This is all what I was talking about.
Process that determines whether a child's brain will provide a strong or weak foundation for all future learning, behavior, and health. During this important period of brain development, billions of brain cells called neurons send electrical signals to communicate with each other. These connections form circuits that become the basic foundation of brain architecture. Circuits and connections proliferate at a rapid pace and are reinforced through repeated use. Our experiences and environment dictate which circuits and connections get more use. Connections that are used more grow stronger and more permanent. Meanwhile, connections that are used less fade away through a normal process called pruning. Well-used circuits create lightning-fast pathways for neural signals to travel across regions of the brain. Simple circuits form first, providing a foundation for more complex circuits to build on later. Through this process, neurons form strong circuits and connections for emotions, motor skills, behavioral control, logic, language, and memory during the early critical period of development. With repeated use, these circuits become more efficient and connect to other areas of the brain more rapidly. While they originate in specific areas of the brain, the circuits are interconnected. You can't have one type of skill without the others to support it. Like building a house, everything is connected, and what comes first forms a foundation for all that comes later.
So that is about building the architecture, and now I'm going to show you all about the next video. It's about the serve and return.
The key to forming strong brain architecture is what's known as serve and return interaction with adults. In this developmental game, new neural connections form in the brain as young children instinctively serve through babbling, facial expressions, and gestures. And adults return the serve, responding in a very directed, meaningful way. It starts very early in life when a baby coos and the adult interacts and directs the baby's attention to a face or hand. This interaction forms the foundation of brain architecture upon which all future development will be built. It helps create neural connections between all the different areas of the brain, building the emotional and cognitive skills children need in life. For example, here's how it works for literacy and language skills. When the baby sees an object, the adult says its name. This makes connections in the baby's brain between particular sounds and their corresponding objects. Later, adults show young children that those objects and sounds can also be represented by marks on a page. With continued support from adults, children then learn how to decipher writing and eventually to write themselves. Each stage builds on what came before. Ensuring that children have adult caregivers who consistently engage and serve and return interaction, beginning in infancy, builds a foundation in the brain for all the learning, behavior, and health that follow.
Okay, so we'll stop here. I'm not going to show you the toxic stress video since time is passing. So basically, there are two articles I'm going to share with you all now. I'll send to all of you all who are here today, and also we'll send a link if anybody else wants to watch this webinar. I'm going to stop this now, but just to let you all know, we have also made a few questions for this session so that you can self-attempt those questions. And so basically we thought we would build up the skills of the nursing staff by getting them to read and the medical officers also and the therapists, so that everybody reads and learns and does the best. Not because I say so, because the evidence says so. We want everybody in Sri Lanka to practice evidence-based methods in caring for children with or at potential of neurodevelopmental disorders, okay? So that people don't practice what they want. Next visit, from the next time, we are talking about objective measurements. Now, I gave an overall. Next time, we are talking about objective measurements, how we are going to plan management, and how we can talk to the families about what is in store for them and how they can go ahead. Okay? Any questions? If not, I can stop.
What we have to do is we have to arrange our environment. I think we have a lot of problems with our environment in our ICU, so that we will try to correct as much as possible, madam. So,
yeah, and skills of the staff to kind of be very supportive to the families, and every day when a mother comes to see a baby, to talk to them about the importance. Yes, it's true, your baby is going through a very dark period, but always talk to your baby, be nice to your baby, and try to do things. We are also doing things so you can put the babies in prone so that they develop certain movements, right? And then minimizing the other unwanted things. As we discussed, the light, sound, pain. And also unwanted kind of touch and movement. Those tactile, unwanted tactile is also bad. And also responsive caregiving even within the NICU, where you don't let them cry and go into an anxiety stage at a very young age. Yeah. There's a lot that you can do, and out of the lot, the most important thing is giving the proper information to the families and supporting the families. Because families is what ultimately matters, and they will live with this child forever. Yeah?
okay, madam.
Chintaka, I'm sorry I'm late. I was late to send it to you. I will get blasted from Raga because I haven't sent it to the Raga even. But I will do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chintaka.
Yes, madam. It's okay, madam. We'll watch the video on YouTube, madam.
Yeah, we'll put it on the YouTube, okay? Okay, thank you so much, everybody. I hope you will practice what we preach. That's all we need. My
Thank
task
you.
is to have people who might think might. Yeah? Physios, yeah, okay? Physios, about tummy time, you have questions? Nice to see you, Geeta. Physio, what's your name, girl?
Kaushika.
Kaushika, you have questions? Are you worried about putting kids on the tummy?
No.
No. Please don't have any worries. I assure you, nothing happens and your kid will be nice and strong like this one day. Okay? Right? So please put kids on prone. That is the best you can do for them when they're babies. Yeah, then they will learn to turn and do stuff. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
Bye. Have a nice weekend.